All right, everyone. Please be advised we're going to record this meeting and post it on the web.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining. You can see the agenda up there. We're going to have a brief discussion on the ALS psychomotor exams. Really, this came up again at the last education meeting, and I want to discuss it, and it's very possible it was, we'll call it my non-communication issue at the beginning when we started rolling things out. But I kind of wanted to give you guys a sense of how I look at it, and I've been talking around with some of the other bureau chiefs and things like that. So the deal is, I think people were getting confused, right? When we used to, you would request testing from National Registry, and they would come in as a third party and evaluate that piece of everything, and then you would take the National Registry written, and that's how you would get your certification. Well, when National Registry sunsetted that, it kind of threw a wrench in things because the state of Arizona still requires a psychomotor skills exam, right? Now, I think this is the piece that kind of confused everybody, right? So when you do the psychomotor skills exam within your program, right, because the state requires it within your program, you have to do the skills exam. But that doesn't give you a certification, right? That doesn't make you a paramedic. When you do the psychomotor skills exam within your program, that's saying that you have the proficiency at an entry-level paramedic to pass your program and get a certificate of completion from your program, which then allows you to sit for the written test for National Registry. And I think it came in a lot where everybody was thinking, oh no, you have to do the psychomotor skills exam to get your National Registry. And it's kind of not like that. It's to actually pass your program itself. So one of the things I wanted to compare it to, same concept as if you were going to become a registered nurse, right? Let's say I went to college and I got an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree and I graduated, right? I graduated the program. That does not make you a nurse yet. You have to go take and sit for the national exam to get your registered nursing license, right? It's the same concept. So on my end, I've been trying to help facilitate with, sending out testing packets, so you guys don't have to make up your own scenarios, things like that. However, in our rules, and you guys have heard this one before, you don't have to request material from the state. The only thing you would need to request is the form that's an attestation that says you sign it and say that you did it. Now, I know everybody was asking, well, awesome, where's that form? That's still being created. I kind of got stuck a little bit and I'm waiting for it to be approved. It shouldn't be too much longer to where that form actually exists. So I just wanted to kind of go over that and see if anybody had any questions about the ALS psychomotor exams, just because it was brought up again at the last education meeting. Before anybody has any questions, let me throw this in there. One of the questions was, how is there a checks and balances between, our program's going to do it correctly? Well, there's a couple things, and if you've talked to me for any length of time, I base all of our relationships off of trust. I'm trusting that you guys are actually doing it, and you want good paramedics coming out in the field, which I'm sure you all do. The other piece of the checks and balances, you have a training center audit by the state, and you also have an audit by COAMs, especially when you're in an ALS program. So you have two different organizations coming in to audit your program to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and making sure everything is up and on board. So does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns about the ALS psychomotor exams the way it currently is? Awesome. Not hearing anything, that means either I explained it good or everybody understands what's happening. But if you don't feel comfortable speaking in the group, all you guys know, I'm only a text message or a phone call away, email. feel free to shoot me a text or anything if you have questions about that particular piece. So since nobody has any questions on that, we'll just jump right down to the next rule that I wanted to clarify. And this rule was one that I get asked all the time. And when I first took this role, I really didn't know how to respond to it, because a lot of people were asking, what exam does somebody need to take so I can show or document that they have a 9th grade reading level, proficiency at reading at the 9th grade level? And it kept coming up, and I really didn't have a great response. But again, I asked our deputy chief and all the people to make sure I'm reading this rule correctly. So I wanted to clarify this particular rule with you guys. So for your programs, you just need to show that they can read at the 9th grade level. Meaning, if you have a high school diploma, that shows that you can read at the 9th grade level, technically, because you graduated high school. So you don't have to do another exam for them to enter your program, as long as they can produce some form of documentation that says that they can, I can read at the 9th grade level. So a high school diploma, an associate's degree or higher. So much so that I asked, well, we have some programs that are high school students. Well, if you're in the 11th grade or if you're in the 12th grade, you've been promoted through the educational system, which means, technically speaking, you can show proficiency at the 9th grade level, meaning you don't need to have a separate entrance exam to show that proficiency. So does anybody have any? I just wanted to clarify that one, because that's one question I get a lot, and I finally have a solid answer of what you need to do. That doesn't mean that you need to stop doing anything that you're doing. If you want to have your own reading entrance exam, that is absolutely fine. You just need to have something in your student's file that says, that documents that they can read at that particular level. So like I said, a high school diploma, associate's degree or higher, a transcript that says you're in the 11th grade, 12th grade, those kind of things. So with that, hopefully that clarified something, or maybe I unclarified it, but does anybody have any questions on that specific rule set? Awesome. So
Actually, sir,
no, it's too late. No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
Richard Adams at the board show. You want that in everyone's folder individually, or just I have a paper in my main book for you that says that all board show agents are tested at the 9th grade level for entry. Is that fine, or?
No, that's fine.
Thanks, sir.
All right. If nobody has any other questions on that particular topic, and once again, if you want to talk to me outside of this particular meeting, absolutely feel free. Email, text, call, whatever you got to do. So we'll move on. This one is just kind of an update on our STR project. We kind of we're still working. I have some people out there that wanted to help out, and they're creating PowerPoints, and we're doing some amazing things. As those come in, I'm starting to put them into a little website that I built that everybody will have access to once it's done. We had a small hiccup. I call it a hiccup. We need to have any material that we're going to put out there into the world as far as STRs needs to be ran through the education committee. I'm trying to gather all of our resources, get all the PowerPoints done, and then present a nice package to the education committee, because maybe we can get it pushed through faster since they don't meet all that often. I don't want this project to last years and years. I want to kind of get it done and out there to get you guys the resources. So that one's kind of just a little update of where it's at. We're still building PowerPoints. If you send me an email, if you want to be included on helping and looking at and proofreading, peer reviewing some of the stuff that we have, feel free to email me, and we're going to put all the STR PowerPoints and resources together. How soon we can get it to that education committee and things like that, I'm not sure, but that's just kind of a quick update on STRs. And like I said, if you want to be a part of that group, send me an email. and I'll make sure that you start getting some of the information and keep you up to date on where the progress is for that. So does anybody have any questions on the development of our STR project? Awesome. You guys are making my life easy today, which I appreciate. So we'll move to the next one. I don't know how many of you guys know, some of you know, some of you don't. I created a calendar on the DHS website that can house everybody's education if you want your educational opportunities to be seen in Arizona. So you can see there's all the education that's happening in April. You know, and it keeps going. If you want something, if you're going to put on a CE, you're going to put on an initial EMT class or a paramedic class or critical care paramedic class, whatever education you want everybody in Arizona to be able to see, email it to me and I'll make sure it's on here. The biggest thing though, if you want me to put something on here, I'm putting on here exactly what you email me. So you need to tell me what the class is, where it's at, the times, if there's a registration link, who the point of contact is. If you leave any of those out, I'm not going to chase you down because there's one of me and 114 of you. So just give me everything that you want on the calendar for whichever day and what educational opportunity that you want the world to be able to see, and I'll throw it on there. So, and it can be any education. You know, we're not specifically, we're not marketing for any one program. Just if you have something that you want to do, or you have a program or a continuing education or whatever it is, let me know. We'll throw it on there. And it's just a simple email to me, you know, like I said, with what class it is, what times it is, what location it is, whether there's a virtual option, and I'll put all that in the invite section. And then when people click on it, they'll be able to register and find who the point of contact is. So does anybody have any questions on our current calendar? Excellent. All right. The next edition of the newsletter will come out in June. If you have anything that you want me to talk about in that newsletter, that would be greatly appreciated. If you got the last newsletter, feel free to forward that to whoever you want. The other thing, it's not on our agenda, but I'll just talk about it really quick. I'm updating all the program director, my distribution and contact list. So that's what actually this newsletter is about. It has the link on there. Please fill that out because I'm going to start phasing out the old one and just use the new one. And if somebody wants information from DHS, then if they're not on my distribution list, they're not going to get anything. So let me know. Here's another little peek. Oh yeah, thank you, Shelly. Let's see. So there's the newsletter. Oh, I lied. That's rules. There we go. There's the newsletter. It just talks about, you know, I've been in the role. There's the link. Just hit that link. It's a super simple Google form. Who you are, what program you're on, and very, very simple. It'll take you about 30 seconds to fill out. And like I said, feel free to send it around, right? But if you're probably in the next couple months, if you're not on my new list, you probably won't be getting any of the information that I send out. And I'm really trying. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm really trying to increase the communication between the state and the training centers. So I want to have that open line of communication. And if you can see, I'm glad you opened this, Shelly. Those are the recordings of all the past meetings we have had and other newsletters that have been out. So if you know anybody that has missed this particular meeting, we'll post it here once we get the recording, and it'll look just like that. So if you ever forget or you want, hey, you should listen to what he said, the recording will be right here. So on that note, if nobody has any questions on any, we'll do a quick Q&A if anybody has anything. If not, oh, Shelly, go ahead.
Hey, Dan, the information you're getting, I'm going to be updating these lists, correct?
Let me, oh, yeah, we can update the list. So you guys, if you ever go to this and you see that your program is either one not on there or your contact information is wrong, let us know, because this is the contact list that the public can see, right? So if they want to know, is a certain program legitimate, or does the state recognize, that's where it's going to end up. Because I do get that question a lot, is this particular program a legitimate program? Well, they can just look on here, and if they don't have to contact me to get your information, they can just go right here. So we're trying to get everything updated and all that kind of stuff. So when you respond to me at my contact list, I can send it to Shelly and we can update that list as well. So we can have 2 running lists of concurrently. So yes. With that being said, does anybody have any questions on anything that I can try to answer? Awesome. Well, hang on. Yes, sir.
I just got a quick question about the critical care. So just to share, we've kind of finished our first attempt at that DHS critical care program. It was definitely challenging. We had a high washout rate too, but of those who passed, they're really successful on FPC. That being said, question that I get a lot is, at some point, will there ever be a need to eliminate that requirement as far as the critical care endorsement in Arizona where they have to pass the FPC? I get that question a lot.
We will, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I would hazard a guess that we will never get rid of the FPC. And we're using the FPC just because that's what I'm familiar with. There's going to have to be a national test that they take. They're never going to get rid of that. So when you think about it, you know how like you do your paramedic program and you take the national test to get your certification in Arizona? It's kind of the same concept. You take the critical care course, you must finish, obviously course completion, and then take a national test to get your critical care. They're not going to take that part away.
Understood. Yeah, it is a really great golden standard. It's something else to take that test, and it really proves that competency. It's a very fair test. But okay, so there was that, and then back to kind of a question I asked previous meeting would be, is the advanced control vent settings being enforced? Because I hear a lot of rumors about that, where some places it's being enforced and they need critical care paramedics on the ground for that, and other places it's not being enforced.
That one, that one's a little bit more, we'll call it messy, because a lot of people are asking the state to kind of dictate what is a critical care vent, right? So as long as whatever vent you have, we'll go non-critical care really fast, right? So you can control tidal volume, breaths per minute, and one other thing, right? As long as whatever vent you have, you can lock it in, and a non-critical care paramedic can't mess with the settings, then that's okay. But a lot of it is going to be dependent on who your medical director is. And that's why some people say it's being enforced and some people are saying it's not being enforced. The state's not coming down to check your vent settings every morning, but your different program medical directors are the ones that are kind of dictating what their critical care paramedics can and can't do. So I can get a little bit better clarification for you on that, but I'll be talking to Dr. Bradley a little bit later today, so I can get you a better answer later.
Anyway, yeah, that's okay. That's a little bit outside of my domain anyway. It's just related to education on the standpoint of these critical care classes, specifically AZDHS. They're really hard to fill, is what I'm noticing. We're trying to find the 10% out there out of all of our providers in the entire state of Arizona is really who wants to do this. So incentive-wise, that's all related, is that different domain where, do organizations have the ability do ground transport organizations have the ability to charge more per transport if they put a critical care guy in the back right now, or is that something not yet?
To be honest, I don't think the CON team has finished the rate analysis on it. I can't really speak to that just because it's not really my area. So right now, I don't think it's finished to where they can charge yet.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I feel like it's all related from the ground up. So thanks for clarifying all that.
You're welcome. Any other questions out there? Yes, sir.
I don't know if this is the right forum to ask this, but I've been getting some issues with our BLS is through HSI, not American Heart. And I don't understand the difference between the two. And I know locally our hospital doesn't like HSI, they only do American Heart. But now I've been certifying some of the Army guys that are working with us, and the Army even says that they would rather American Heart than HSI. So I don't know if this group could tell me why there's a difference, and if it's something I need to look into to switching over to American Heart Program, or is HSI is just as good as anything else.
Well, I can tell you from I couldn't tell you the differences, like is one better than the other or that kind of thing. All I can tell you is from the state standpoint, the way our rules are written are your program needs to be equivalent to American Heart Association. So you can use whatever program you want as long as it's equivalent to. I can't give you a good answer on should you switch to AHA or not, because I'm not familiar with how they parallel each other. Are they equivalent? So I'd have to research the HCI one. I don't know if anybody else out there in the education world knows if there's any differences between them. But it doesn't sound like they do. So that again, I could do a little bit of research for you and let you know if they parallel each other. If you want to just send me an email, we can do that offline.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
The only comment I can make on that, if it's helpful, is usually depending on the organizations, it's about billing and the providers. Some places need that standard where they need to be American Heart Association for them to bill Medicare, things like that. And then that's why they don't accept the HSI. So it's the only comment I wanted to add.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And like I said, if anybody has any questions on that, or if you want to send me an email, I can dig into it for a little bit and let you know. Because I can really only comment from the state side, right? It's an equivalent to, right? And like I said, I don't know how it parallels each other. So, like I said, feel free to send me an email. We can dig into it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions out there? All righty. Well, we'll go ahead and end our meeting. Just be looking out for that next newsletter, and we'll see you all again on June 20th. Prior to that, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, solutions, feel free to shoot me an email. With that, we'll go ahead and end our meeting. You guys all have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.